Hello everyone and welcome to Everlast Cyber. If you're preparing for the Canadian citizenship test, then you've come to the right place. We have provided a comprehensive practice session with 35 commonly asked questions and their answers. Now, whether you're studying for your citizenship or you're just curious about Canada's history, rights and responsibility, this video covers it all. In this video, you can test your knowledge on topics like Canadian geography, history, the government structure, rights and freedoms, and many more. By the end of this video, you'll feel confident and well prepared for the Canadian citizenship test. Don't forget to subscribe for more helpful tips and practice questions. So for now, let's just dive right into the questions. Question 1. What length of time is the Governor General appointed for? A. 1 year. B. 5 years. C. 10 years. D. 15 years. The answer here is option B, 5 years. The Governor General who represents the Canadian monarch, who is currently Queen Elizabeth II, in Canada is appointed for 5 years. Question 2. What does the phrase, "whereas Canada is founded upon principles that recognize the supremacy of God and the rule of law," underline the importance of? A. Dignity and worth of human person. B. Religious tradition. C. None of the above. D. Both A and B. The answer here is option D, which is both A and B. The phrase appears in the preamble to the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and it indicates the importance of religious as well as moral values and traditions to the Canadian society and the dignity and worth of the human person. Question 3. Who has a role similar to that of the Governor General in Parliament government? A. Premier. B. Lieutenant Governor. C. Senate member. D. Members of House of Commons. The answer is option B. In Canada, the Lieutenant Governor represents the Crown at the provincial level, just as the Governor General represents the Crown at the federal level. Both of these positions serve as representatives of the monarch and perform ceremonial duties like giving royal assent to bills passed by their respective legislatures. Question 4. The Canadian law inherited from the past also has an 800-year-old tradition of ordered liberty, which dates back to the signing of what? A. Fleur-de-lis. B. Magna Carta. C. Charter of Independence. D. There was no signing. The answer here is option B. The Magna Carta was signed in 1215 and it is often cited as a foundational document in the development of the rule of law and ordered liberty. It influences many legal traditions, including the Canadian law. Question 5. Which of the following is not a source of the law present in Canada? A. U.S. federal law. B. Law passed by the Parliament. C. French civil code. D. English common law. The answer is option A. The U.S. federal law is not a source of law present in Canada. The sources of law in Canada include the laws passed by Parliament, the French civil code, and the English common law. Question 6. When is forced marriage of women permitted in Canada? A. When she becomes independent. B. When she turns 18. C. When she graduates from college. D. Under no circumstances. The answer is option D. Forced marriage is not permitted under any circumstances in Canada. Question 7. Where did the rights and responsibilities of Canadian citizens come from? A. Future. B. Recent wars and political dominance. C. History. D. Every government decides its own rights and responsibilities. We'll be going with option C. These rights and responsibilities have evolved over time through Canada's legal and constitutional history, including documents like the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, various laws enacted by parliaments, judicial decisions, and cultural norms. The historical development of these rights and responsibilities has shaped the framework of Canadian citizenship and governance. Question 8. On the oath of citizenship in Canada, to which person do the Canadian citizens swear allegiance? A. Premier. B. Sovereign. C. Prime Minister. D. Governor General. The answer here is option B. Under the oath of citizenship in Canada, Canadian citizens swear allegiance to the sovereign, who is currently the monarch of Canada. Question 9. In Canadian courts, any statement against women due to cultural traditions will be A. Applied, B. Agreed, C. Applauded, D. Disregarded. The answer is option D. Canadian courts prioritize equality and non-discrimination, and cultural traditions that undermine the rights of women are not accepted as a justification for discriminatory practices or statements. Question 10. In what year was the Constitution of Canada amended? A. 1947, B. 1980, C. 1982, D. 1997. The answer is option C. The Constitution of Canada was significantly amended in 1982 with the passage of the Constitution Act 1982. This act included the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Question 11. How old is the tradition of ordered liberty that Canada contains? A. 700, B. 800, C. 900, D. 1000. The answer is option B. The tradition of ordered liberty that Canada contains is approximately 800 years old, and it dates back to the signing of the Magna Carta in 1215 in England. Question 12. Who is Canada's representative? A. The people, B. The sovereign, C. The armed forces, D. The Governor General. We'll be going with option D. The Governor General is Canada's representative of the sovereign and acts as the head of state in Canada. Question 13. In which law can a person challenge an unlawful detention by the state through the habeas corpus? A. English common law, B. French common law, C. German common law, D. Italian common law. The answer here is option A. The right to challenge an unlawful detention by the state through the habeas corpus is a principle found in English common law. This legal mechanism allows individuals to seek relief from unlawful imprisonment. Question 14. What is the status of men and women under the law in Canada? A. They are equal under some conditions. B. They are not equal. C. They are equal. D. They are not equal under some conditions. We'll be going with option C. The Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms guarantees equality rights and ensures that men and women are treated equally under the law without discrimination based on their sex. Question 15. What is the status given to multiculturalism by the Canadian Constitution? A. It shouldn't exist. B. It should be celebrated. C. It should be ignored. D. It is prohibited to celebrate it. For this question, we'll be going with option B. Multiculturalism is recognized and celebrated in Canada as a fundamental characteristic of Canadian society. It is enshrined in the Canadian Constitution Act of 1982, particularly in Section 27 of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedom, and it states that the Charter shall be interpreted in a manner consistent with the preservation and enhancement of the multicultural heritage of Canadians. Question 16. To become a part of Canada, what is the age limit for a person that must have adequate knowledge of English and French language? A. 12 to 75. B. 14 to 85. C. 16 to 62. D. 18 to 54. The answer here is option D. To become a Canadian citizen, individuals between the ages of 18 and 54 must demonstrate adequate knowledge of English or French. Question 17. The Constitution of Canada was amended to entrench which Canadian Charter in 1982? A. Canadian Charter of National Allegiance. B. Canadian Charter of Citizens' Responsibility. C. Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedom. D. Canadian Charter of Crime and Punishment. We'll be going with option C, the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedom. The Constitution of Canada was amended in 1982 to entrench the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. The Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedom outlines the various rights and freedom that includes fundamental freedoms like freedom of conscience and religion, freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression. It also includes democratic rights, which is the right to vote, mobility rights, which is the right to move and live within Canada, legal rights, which is the right to a fair trial, and equality rights, which is protection against discrimination based on age, ethnic origin, color, religion, sex, age, or mental disability. Question 18. What does the Constitution of Canada tell us about Aboriginal people? A. They are not mentioned at all. B. They cannot be overruled by it. C. They are not mentioned at all. D. They don't have equal status according to the Constitution. We'll be going with option B. The Constitution of Canada acknowledges and affirms the right of Aboriginal people, and the rights guaranteed in the Charter will not adversely affect any treaty of other rights or freedoms of the Aboriginal people. So the answer to this question is the Aboriginal people cannot be overruled by the Constitution of Canada. Question 19. Which one of these religions has greater rights in Canada? A. Judaism. B. Islam. C. Christianity. D. They are all equal. The answer here is option D. In Canada, all religions are equal under the law. The Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms guarantees freedom of religion as a fundamental right, and it ensures that individuals have the right to practice their religion without discrimination or preference based on their faith. Canada celebrates the gift of one another's presence and works hard to respect pluralism and live in harmony. Question 20. What are the 3 responsibilities of Canadian citizens? A. Buying Canadian products using less electricity. B. Obeying the law, taking responsibility for oneself and one's family, serving on a jury. C. Must be fluent in English, vote in elections, be part of any union. D. Recycling of plastics, being loyal to the British Empire, serving in the armed forces. The 3 responsibilities of Canadian citizens will be option B. Obeying the law, taking responsibility for oneself and one's family, and serving on a jury. Question 21. According to the government, which of the following is above the law? A. The Queen. B. Prime Minister. C. Governor General. D. Nobody. The answer is option D. In Canada, nobody is above the law. Question 22. Who has the responsibility of taking care of the environment? A. Every citizen. B. The Queen. C. The government. D. None of the above. In Canada, every citizen is responsible for taking care of the environment, so the answer here is option A. Question 23. What does the mobility right state? A. That Canadians cannot live and work freely in the country. B. That Canadians can live and work anywhere they want. C. That Canadians can enter and leave the country freely. D. Both B and C. The answer we'll be going with is option D. Option B states that Canadians can live and work anywhere they want, and option C states that Canadians can enter and leave the country freely. This obviously means that Canadians have the right to move and take up residence in any province, and also they can pursue gaining a livelihood in any province. Additionally, they also have the right to enter and leave Canada freely without any restrictions. Question 24. The right to vote comes with a responsibility to vote, which means that every Canadian should vote in what types of elections? A. Federal elections. B. Provincial elections. C. Local elections. D. All of the above. The answer here is option D. The right to vote comes with a responsibility that means that every Canadian should vote in federal, provincial, or territorial elections. Question 25. Which of the following is prohibited in Canada? A. Female genital mutilation. B. Owning multiple properties. C. Having more than 2 children. D. Serving in the armed forces. The answer here is option A. Canada's openness and generosity does not extend to barbaric cultural practices that tolerate spousal abuse, honor killings, female genital mutilations, forced marriage, or other gender-based violence. So, female genital mutilation is prohibited in Canada. Question 26. How many territories does Canada have? A. 4. B. 6. C. 3. D. 8. The number of territories in Canada is 3. These territories are Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut. Question 27. Which is Canada's largest city and main financial center? A. Ottawa. B. Toronto. C. London. D. Guelph. The answer here is option B. Toronto is Canada's largest city and main financial center due to several factors like the population. In Toronto, there are over 2.9 million residents as of 2021, and the GTA has a population of over 6 million, and this makes it the largest metropolitan area in the country. Also, Toronto is the financial capital of Canada because it hosts the headquarters of the country's major banks, including the Big Five, which are the Royal Bank of Canada, the Toronto Dominion Bank, Scotiabank, Bank of Montreal, and the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce. Additionally, Toronto boasts a rich cultural sense with numerous museums, art galleries, and theaters, and it also has a well-developed infrastructure, including an extensive public transport network as well as an international airport. Question 28. Helping in the community and volunteering helps A. You make friends and contacts. B. Gets everybody involved. C. Developing working and social environments. D. All of the above. Helping in the community and volunteering will help to give the 3 options that we have, A, B, and C. So the answer here is option D. All of the above. Millions of volunteers freely donate their time to help others without pay, and this could also include assisting your child at school, helping people in need, or volunteering at a food bank or other charities, including encouraging newcomers to integrate in the society. Question 29. In Canada, serving on a jury is A. Applauded. B. Compulsory. C. Dangerous. D. Not allowed. The answer here is option B. When you're called to do so, you're legally required to serve on a jury. Serving on a jury is a privilege that makes the justice system work, as it depends on impartial juries made up of citizens. What will you promise when you take the oath of citizenship? A. To be an upright citizen. B. Pledge allegiance to the Queen, observe the laws of Canada, and fulfill the duties of a Canadian. C. Take care of the environment. D. Take care of your family. When you take the oath of citizenship, you'll be doing option B. You pledge allegiance to the Queen, observe the laws of Canada, and fulfill the duties of a Canadian. Question 31. What does the red poppy symbolize on Remembrance Day? A. Love and romance. B. Peace and harmony. C. Remembrance of soldiers who have died in war. D. Environmental awareness. The red poppy symbolizes the remembrance of soldiers who have died in war, so the answer is option C. Question 32. Which province has the largest Aboriginal population? A. New Brunswick. B. British Columbia. C. Manitoba. D. Alberta. The answer is option C. Manitoba. Manitoba leads the provinces for the largest number of Aboriginal people in terms of the proportion of its population. Question 33. Which province has its own time zone? A. Nova Scotia. B. Manitoba. C. New Brunswick. D. Newfoundland and Labrador. The answer is option D. Newfoundland and Labrador is in the Newfoundland time zone, and it is a half hour ahead of Atlantic time and 1.5 hours ahead of Eastern time during the standard time. Question 34. What does the black center of the red poppy represent? A. The heart of the fallen soldiers. B. The grief of the families. C. The mud and soil of the battlefields. D. The bloodshed in wars. The answer here is option C. The black center of the red poppy represents the mud and soil of the battlefields. Question 35. In Canada, what is the presumption of innocence? A. The right to remain silent. B. The principle that a person is innocent until proven guilty. C. The right to a fair trial. D. The requirements for a unanimous jury verdict. The answer here is option B. The presumption of innocence in Canada is a principle that states that a person is innocent until proven guilty. This brings us to the end of the video for the Canadian citizenship test. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, drop your comments in the comment section and share the video to others that might find it helpful. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.